Come, let us recite the sayings of the Buddha and then meditate like a Jedi. If you join me on the clock app, we'll be able to read from the same text. Who shall conquer this world and the world of death with all its gods? Who shall discover the shining way of the path? You shall, for even as the man who seeks flowers finds flowers the most beautiful, the rarest. Let's see here. Understand that the body is merely the impermanent foam of a wave, the shadow of a shadow. Snap the flower arrows of desire, and then, unseen, escape the king of death and travel on. Welcome aboard, Terry. We are reciting from the 4th chapter of the Dhammapada. Death overtakes the man who frivolously gathers flowers, and then with scattered mind and thirsty senses searches vainly for happiness and the pleasures of the world. Death fetches him away as a flood carries off a sleeping village. Death overcomes him when, with scattered mind and thirsty senses, he frivolously gathers flowers. He will never have his fill of the pleasures of the world. The bee gathers nectar from the flower without marring its beauty or perfume. Likewise may the master settle and wander. Look to your own faults. What you have done or left undone, overlook the faults of others. I'm going to stop here a second. I once lived in a Vietnamese monastery, and there was this one guy who just had a perpetual sourpuss, and he was always stomping about, pointing the finger, finding fault with others. He got so good at finding fault that he could find it whether it was there or not. Like a lovely flower, bright but scentless, are the fine but empty words of the man who does not mean what he says. Like a lovely flower, bright and fragrant, are the fine and truthful words of the man who means what he says. Like garlands woven from a heap of flowers, fashion from your life many good deeds. The perfume of sandalwood, rosebay, or jasmine cannot travel against the wind, but the fragrance of peace and kindness travels even against the wind, as far as the ends of the world. Hey, Bunny, what's up? Okay, let's see here. How much finer is the fragrance of peace and kindness than that of sandalwood, rosebay, blue lotus, or jasmine? The fragrance of sandalwood and rosebay does not travel far, but the fragrance of peace and kindness rises to the heavens. The tyranny of desire never dominates the path of those who are wakeful, peaceful, and kind. Their brightness sets them free. How sweetly the lotus grows in the litter of the wayside. Its pure fragrance delights the heart. This is really, really beautiful. I love the fact that just as a beautiful flower can grow from a heap of trash, there are many people, some of them cruel, some of them stupid, who will judge us and condemn us and tell us how horrible we are. Maybe we're one of those people who stand in the mirror pointing the finger and revile. And yet, our heart can become peaceful, can become loving, can become wise. Follow the awakened, and from among the blind, the light of your wisdom could purely radiate. And I should have put a symbol here. This is a symbol I like to put in just for me to remember that this is the end of a chapter. So quick like a bunny, I'm going to hit Shift and 1, 2, and Shift again. Going to make it bold and bright. Fabulous. Having completed our opening recitation, we can now shift gears. It is Obi-Wan Kenobi Wednesday afternoon. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. After approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping, this is the Dzogchen Semde Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I have harnessed my autistic special interests as well as my ADHD hyperfocus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I could become your personal, nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. Hey, Daryl, what's up? Chris, how you doing? Kyle, Joe Ocean, glad to see you. Moon Momentum must have some sparkly water for the throat. I love this photograph of a Buddha statue. I love how imperious a cat is. Seeing the statue of a Buddha as a minion worthy to cradle his feline glory. As a warm-up to our meditation, I'd like to bring the 4 bases of mindfulness into the path of impermanence, which is Pana, the first fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. So let us begin with the circumstantial. As we breathe in, let us silently and mentally recite the noun lot. As we exhale, let us silently and mentally recite the verb change. We're not trying to visualize, we're not trying to believe, we're not trying to philosophize. We are playing with these words vulnerably and passively and viscerally. By reciting them in cooperation with our breathing, it helps us to viscerally reacquaint ourselves with the change that's obvious. It doesn't take a PhD to see change. As autumn slides into, with the coming and going of the seasons, we see the impermanence of a year. With the waxing and the waning of the moon, we see the impermanence of a month. With the rising and the setting of the sun, we see the impermanence of a day. With the swelling and the sinking of our chest, we feel the impermanence of a breath, ever changing, one and all. There is nothing permanent to grasp. As we breathe in, let us utter the noun form. As we exhale, let us recite the verb change, reminding ourselves of the impermanence of our body and everybody else's body. Even the bodies of fascists who do things cruel and horrible. Let us bring our experience of the interpersonal into the path of impermanence. As we breathe in, I got to get this light out of my eyes. As we breathe in, we could silently and mentally recite the noun feels. As we exhale, we could silently and mentally recite the verb change. No matter what mood we're in, no matter what phase of a relationship we are experiencing, good or bad, interesting or boring, it is fleeting. Now we come to the fourth base of mindfulness. Let us bring our experience of mind into the path of change. Mind that perceives, emotes, intends, reasons, recalls, and imagines. As we breathe in, let us silently and mentally recite the noun mind. As we exhale, let us silently and mentally recite the verb change. Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks, including meditation teachers, including meditation instruction. That's why so many of them implore their students to overwork the front of their brain, actively focusing and actively analyzing. The problem with that is that it induces us to present with symptoms of depression, as well as triggers our amygdala, the seat of anxiety and aggression. Fortunately, neither the amygdala nor the prefrontal cortex constitute the entirety of our central nervous system. Consider, if you will, the humble spinal cord. Every time we inhale, we've evolved to automatically access the middle bit of that spinal cord, known as our sympathetic nervous system. It has evolved to help us to notice in a very special way, to help us to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. Every time we exhale, we have evolved to automatically access the bottom bit and the top bit of that same spinal cord. Those end bits are known as the parasympathetic nervous system, and they have evolved to help us to physically relax and mentally release to such a degree that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, and even less defining. As we breathe in, let us silently and mentally recite the verb watch. As we exhale, let us silently and mentally recite the verb rest. That's all we got to do. We can do this. This works best when we do it vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. You see, here's the lowdown on the hoedown. With every breath, we have a choice. Do we actively compete against our autonomic nervous system, or do we passively cooperate with it? This mental recitation helps us to practice the latter. Now, you are not alone. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist philosophy or meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window, for I tend to check for questions about once every 5 minutes or so. And of course, if you, like me, are prone to arthritis, I invite you to gently rearrange your legs every 15 minutes or so, for we get no extra points for needless suffering. So our job is not to concentrate on our breath, but to merely use our breath the way a piano student uses a metronome. As we feel air enter our nostrils, silently and mentally, we could recite the verb watch. As we feel air exit our nostrils, silently and mentally, we could recite the verb rest. What if enlightenment was nothing other than getting so good at practicing the Eightfold Path that we practice it spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively? No, Virginia. Enlightenment doesn't mean you stop feeling certain emotions or stop thinking certain thoughts. It merely means you've mastered an enlightened response to perceptions, emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. The seventh enlightenment factor is equanimity, or balance, or non-duality. That does not mean we can no longer tell the difference between doggy doo and chocolate. It means we have a universal response to whatever we encounter, whether it is delightful, disgusting, or boring. The universal response is simply to watch as we breathe in and rest as we breathe out. Welcome to this afternoon's live stream. The key to mindfulness is to silently and mentally recite the verb watch each time we feel air enter our nostrils. And the key to meditation is to silently and mentally recite the verb rest each time we feel air exit our nostrils. Let us conclude this afternoon's practice by bringing the four bases of mindfulness into the path of loving kindness, which is the essence of all morality. As we begin with the mind. As we breathe in, we could silently and mentally recite the noun joy. As we exhale, we could silently and mentally recite the word all. Let's do this passively for 4 breaths. Let us bring each being's experience of the interpersonal into the path of kindness. As we breathe in, let us silently and mentally recite the noun peace. As we exhale, let us silently and mentally recite the word all. Let us bring the physical into the path of love. As we breathe in, silently and mentally, we could recite the noun health. As we exhale, silently and mentally, we could recite the word all. Now let us bring all phenomena into the path of love. We're going to bring the circumstantial into the path of love. As we breathe in, let us silently and mentally recite the noun safe. And as we exhale, let us silently and mentally recite the word all. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 3 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.